At 12 years old, I embarked on a 2-week canoe expedition with my father and my father's family. In case you don't know who I am, that is young Amy. And this is the bane of my canoe trip, was this 60-pound Duluth pack. Now, for those of you who don't know what canoeing and portaging is all about, portaging is the part where you take your pack and you take your canoe and you cross sometimes miles of land to get to the next body of water. Now, as I was taking a portage, at one point I slipped backwards, I fell, and this huge pack had me pinned on the ground. And one by one, my family members would pass along the path, and they would say, "Oh my, look at you, you got turtled," and laugh and keep going. Point here was, this was one of the hardest things I'd done up to this point in my life, and I didn't quit. For heaven's sakes, if my 70-year-old grandmother was there with her 10-pound pack, I could do this. And it taught me a huge lesson about perseverance. This is the theme for my talk today, is that character really matters, and character really matters to education success. Education was huge in my family. My parents literally catapulted themselves out of poverty through education. My mother grew up in the Panama Canal Zone, poor. She got a full-ride scholarship to the U.S. in 1966. My dad grew up on a farm, poor. They ended up getting their BAs, their MAs, their PhDs, and in one generation, the family suddenly was middle class. One by one, we brought my mother's family up from Panama, and I just knew it. Education is the ticket. So I always studied, I worked hard, and I thought our public education system was pretty good because it had worked for me. Then I came to Stanford, and let me tell you what I learned here, because I was a little bit naive. You all probably know these statistics. For those kids who grow up in the lowest income quartile, about 1 in 10 will get a 4-year college degree on time, compared to about 75 to 80% of the highest income peers. This really appalled me and shocked me. And then I took a class over at the School of Education. I did a dual degree program. And I was really shocked to learn how much our systems were failing, particularly our young men and boys of color. I'll let you read this. The second thing I learned when I was at Stanford was I loved character-focused classes. Ethics class, everyone rolled their eyes. I liked that class. Touchy-feely, my favorite class by far. I came back and I was a facilitator for Touchy-Feely. I formed T groups at the Bridgespan group where I spent 7 years after graduation. This was my kind of work. 8 months ago, I joined this organization called Summer Search as CEO. This is an organization that works with kids to build their character. I think sometimes we think of character as something that only parents can do. I actually have a little bit of a different perspective. And there's a little bit more of an emerging dialogue about the importance of character to education success. Did anyone see the New York Times Magazine article about a month ago called "What if the secret to success is failure"? Oh, okay, some people. I think this was really interesting. This is one of the quotes from that piece from a professor named Angela Duckworth, who is all about grit and tenacity and has done a lot of really interesting research about how tenacity correlates to success in school. More so than IQ, more so than GPA. So let me just close here with Sean. Sean is a Summer Search youth. I met Sean. He's from our Philadelphia site. We have 7 across the country. But Sean is one of the warmest young men you'll ever meet. You can tell that from his smile. What you probably can't tell is that Sean also rocks the hippest pairs of skinny jeans I have ever seen. Somehow he pulls it off, and he's kind of a big kid. Now, Sean was taking care of his whole family and not really taking care of himself. He grew up with a single mom. He was taking care of his 2 younger kids. He was in a homeless shelter for part of his childhood. And we worked with Sean, and we said, "Sean, we got to get you back in school. We got to get you to be tenacious, build your empathy, and build your altruism." Sean is actually going to be the first in his family to go to college. He actually just started last month. So I just want to leave you with the thought, the provocative thought perhaps, that even outside the home, we can work on building character skills with our kids, and it can really help them succeed. Thank you.